What's up guys, today we are talking about the Zev OZ9 by TRIARC Systems. So quick disclaimer, this was sent to me by TRIARC Systems as a T&E gun. They simply said, hey, just run it as hard as you can, put as many rounds through it as you can, we just need more data on it, that's all. So I said, hey, while I have it, can I do a review on it? They of course said yes, so here we are. For those of you who don't know about the OZ9 platform, essentially what they did was very similar to the SIG. They took a metal insert or a metal chassis that goes within the frame of the gun, and that is your serialized part of the gun, and that's what holds your trigger pack and all the important parts so that you can take that out, put it in a different size grip. So if you want to go with a, like here we have a 17 size grip, you can go with a 19 or like a compact or subcompact, whatever you want to do. You can add a longer or shorter slide, and it gives you the options to make this modular gun. You can conform it however you want. If you wanted to carry a 19 slide as your EDC and then you wanted to run a 17 slide when you're out on range or on duty, you could do that without having to have two completely different guns. And we'll talk more about that later. That's the gist. That's the main point of what Zev did. Now, this already exists via SIG, but there's a huge demand for Glock, right? And so it's like, well, why didn't Glock do this? Well, Zev saw a need in the market. They saw a gap and they said, why don't we just combine the two, fill that gap, and they made the OZ9. Now, there were some issues with the OZ9. Some people did have reliability issues, or people had just little things, little quirks about it. They weren't quite sure about it. And TRIARC came in and they took the OZ9 as an OEM partner with Zev, and they said, hey, we want to take the OZ9, we want to make it our own, do our own slide to it, and then do our own little tweaks to it. So what makes the TRIARC OZ9 different than your factory OZ9 is you're going to get a more subdued look, and it's a more classic look. It's something you would expect from TRIARC. So it has their traditional serration and inlet cut, and then there's no top window. It runs their track barrel. They've reshaped the grip, so gone is the little notch here that a lot of people hated. It wasn't like true finger grooves, but there was this kind of one notch that was a little annoying. They did a double undercut, and then they've done their own stippling job on there, which is their QVO package or their texture that you will find on almost every one of their guns. Now, that's what you'll see from the outside, the aesthetics. You also have different options as far as camo patterns, different Cerakote options. You can even get the hard chrome, but you're gonna get the track rifling. You can do threaded, you can do non-threaded. You can also have the option for their comp, and they're all gonna come with an RMR cut. Now, internally, and I think this is what TRIARC has done to kind of improve the performance of it. And these are minor things, right? These are minor tweaks internally that people don't see, or they're little things, but they go a long way. And the thing that TRIARC does internally is they've taken what they've learned from their Tri-11 platform or their 2011 platform, and all the hand fitting, all the hand polishing they do there, they carry that over into the OZ9. So what you're gonna get is you're gonna get a hand polished feed ramps on your barrel. You're gonna get small parts internally as far as like your trigger bar and other little pieces that are gonna be hand polished. And then your trigger is also a custom trigger that is, if you know McNally, it's the McNally trigger that was custom made for the OZ9 platform. That trigger performs better or more as like a self-defense or duty trigger. It's gonna be crisper, it's gonna be a little bit lighter, but it's not gonna be super light, super crazy, but it's still safe, right? Still drop safe, still safe in terms of you're not gonna have an ND with it because it's so light. So that's what TRIARC has done to set theirs apart. That makes it a little bit different than if you were to get one directly from Zev. Also, each one of these guns is tested individually, so each one is QC'd individually. So they check the trigger, they test fire it to make sure it's gonna function properly, and they go through and do kind of a once-over, making sure everything is the way it needs to be, along with TRIARC's lifetime warranty, right? So if you purchase any TRIARC gun, you do receive a lifetime warranty, and the Zev follows in suit. So this particular gun is a 19 slide with a 17 grip. So it's kind of like the 19X or the 45 setup. So how does it perform? How does it shoot? It shoots like a refined Glock. It's probably one of the better, if not best, shooting polymer guns I've ever shot. And I think a big part of what attributes to that is that it has that steel or metal insert inside the frame. Now, because of that, you have added weight down low and then towards the front of the gun, and that's helping to keep the muzzle and the gun to track a little bit flatter as you're cycling through it. One other thing that you'll notice that I think has a big difference in how the gun performs is that the slide release or slide lock is recessed into the frame. Now, one of the questions that people always ask is whenever they see our range day videos, like, how come nobody's guns lock back? And it's because guys are riding so high up that they're depressing that. And if you've run a Glock, you know there are a lot of other polymer guns. You've had that issue where it'll send the slide home on an empty chamber. Now, with this being recessed, it kind of eliminates that. But the downside is it does make it a little bit harder to find if you're used to releasing that way. Now, because I've run the 2011 for so long, I tend to release it with my support hand. So it's not really an issue for me, but that's something to be aware of if you're running this platform. The other thing too is that, and this is specific to my gun and not specific to the other one. So this is a pre-production gun, and it's using a different mag release than what comes on there, like the Zev OEM or others that are out there. And so this one is a little bit sticky for my liking, meaning I have to work really hard and break my grip a lot to release that. So that's something that I'll probably change in the future, but production guns have a different mag release on there, so it's not an issue for you guys, but that was something that I ran into. One other thing that I wasn't crazy about, and this is just a personal thing, but due to the way Zev has set theirs up and the screws that come with it, the screws for your arm are a little bit smaller than what you will see on a Glock or other guns, and it's just because it's a different thread pitch pattern. I'm not crazy about it because they are a little bit small, and to me, they feel like they're gonna shear off at some point. So it's something where I will probably replace these screws with something a little bit beefier, a little bit stronger, but just something to keep an eye out on. One other thing I wanna note is that comps and ports are very popular right now, thanks in large part to Bubba's Blasters. Bubba, thank you for that. But TRIARC does offer a comped version, so you get their threaded barrel, and then you have the comp that goes on there, formerly known as the Mayhem comp. They've had to change their name because of whatever reason, but it's the same comp, but you have that. That is a good option if you're running this as an EDC or a duty gun, and you want the benefit of having a comp whenever, say, you're running a competition, or you're just out shooting with buddies for fun, or whatever it is, to be able to take that off and on quickly. But if you want to get rid of that when you're carrying EDC or doing any type of close retention type shooting, you don't necessarily want ports or a big comp on there. But if that's something that you want the flattest shooting gun, check out the ARC. It is a slide and barrel package that you can get together. Now that comp on there, or that chunk port, whatever you want to call it, that thing shoots flat. Go check out Roger's channel, Roger from QVO Tactical. I'll leave a link up here. You can go see his review on it. I got to shoot that thing when we were out in Vegas, and it's one of the flattest guns I've ever shot, hands down. Now, the gun does rise, but the dot never leaves the window of the RMR, right? So typically when we see guns, the muzzle come up, the dot goes out of the top of the window, comes back down. That one never left the target. It never left out of the window. It was one of the flattest shooting guns I've ever seen or ever shot. It was amazing. So that is an option. This being a modular platform, what that allows you to do is you can buy that ARC barrel slide combo, throw it on here, go out with your friends, shoot for fun, and then have this set aside for when your EDC or your duty gun or whatever it is. There you go. Why does modular matter? Why not just have a bunch of guns? Well, when you're talking in terms of custom Glocks, which you end up spending anywhere from, let's say, $1,200 up to $2,000, $3,000 plus on custom Glocks, depending on what all you have done. Some of you guys have really Gucci Glocks. More power to you. But when you're doing that, to do that over 2 or 3 or 4 guns, it adds up quickly. So this platform allows you to have all those different guns, but for a much cheaper price, right? So then you're only having to worry about buying the slide that you want or the frame that you want, and you just change those out as you want and try different things out. And I think that's especially important given the current climate that we're in with guns being in such high demand and being really hard to come by. Because if you've tried to find just a factory Glock lately, it's been really tough. And this makes it a lot easier because if you've already got the heart of it, essentially the chassis is what I call it, but where your trigger pack is and all the important parts, if you've got that, it's way easier to find a grip or a slide than it is to try to find an entire gun. I think this gun is for the person who wants the modularity of the SIG, but something that's more reliable and trustworthy. We know that gun has had its issues. We know that it's had its problems. It's been documented, right? They've attempted to fix it, but that trust is still lacking from the consumer. So if you're one of those who's like, I don't know if I can trust that yet, this is probably a better option. If you're somebody who is in the Glock market and you've already got a bunch of Glock stuff and you want to continue down that path, but you want that modularity, this is the way to go. If you're somebody who's looking at getting into a Glock, but maybe one of the things that has put you off for a while is the grip angle, this is the way to go. If you're somebody who's looking for going into a Glock, but you don't want to have to wait through all the lead times because you want to do the custom work, you can get a turnkey package here ready to go, and then as you want to change and add things on later, that's the way to go. Additionally, I will say that if you are somebody who is wanting to look at something different but doesn't want to leave all the Glock stuff that you already have that's readily available, that you can get just about anywhere, this is also a great option because it does work with all the Glock holsters, Glock mags, a lot of Glock aftermarket parts. They all work with this platform. And so that's great because it makes it easier, because when we purchase guns, we're purchasing into an ecosystem, right? So if I get into Smith & Wesson, I now have to buy Smith & Wesson mags. I've got to find holsters. I've got to find a holster that's comfortable and that works with it. You know, all those things you have to go through, like, you know, Berettas with Tri-11s or 2011s. These are considerations we have to make. With Glock having such a large share in the market and so many people carrying Glock accessories, it makes it really easy to get into this and find the pieces and parts you need in order to carry it as your everyday gun or a duty gun. And just to show you really quick, we have a Safariland holster. This is for a 17 and light bearing, and there you go. Works, no problem. Now for EDC, the way that I carry it is without the light. I do typically carry EDC with a light, but as of late, I've been carrying it like this, and then with my handheld and my mod light. So there you go, and this is from QVO Tactical. QVO Tactical has a whole range of holsters for these, specifically for Zev guns, so go hit them up. Also, goonlife saves you some money there. If you're interested in purchasing an OZ9, you can get one from TRIARC Systems. They are doing them in batches, so typically you'll see a bunch of them become available, and then they'll sell those, or they're going out to dealers and they'll be available. You can also build out a custom one on their website. You can choose color, barrel length, grip size, everything that you want. You can do all that there, and go check them out. Also, goonlife saves you some money there as well. Is it worth it? Is it a purchase that is worth it? I think that if you're somebody who is going to customize a Glock anyways, or like I said, looking to get in that modular platform, it's absolutely worth it. It's a gun that you can trust, that you know is going to run well. So absolutely yes, it is worth it. If you're looking for like a big performance jump from a factory Glock to this, it does shoot better, but it's not a big jump. It's not a huge jump. By no means am I saying this is a 2011 or that it's going to perform like a 2011. It is still a polymer gun. It is still a production gun. Now, it does shoot better than a factory Glock. It does shoot better than a factory SIG, but is it going to be, it's not going to be like a race gun, right? So let's not be confused about where this sits. But it does perform better. It is a better gun. I do like it. I think a lot of people would enjoy shooting it. I was honestly impressed when I first shot it. I was a little skeptical at first. It did impress me in how it performed and how it has performed. I've had no issues so far. Roughly 700 rounds through it so far and no issues. So yes, it is something that I would recommend. If you're interested, go check out TRIARC Systems, hit them up, you can grab one. And if you do have one and you're looking for holsters, Safariland or QVO Tactical, if there's anything that you feel like I left out or any questions you have, please feel free to leave them down in the comments below. I try to answer as many of those as I can within the first 24 to 48 hours. Thank you guys for all your support. I appreciate all of you. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe, karate chop that bell so you get notified every time I upload a video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Oh, I need to turn my phone on in case the school calls. So, Taylor called. Taylor, sorry I missed your call, but I'm recording, so I'll call you back. Have to turn it on because James E started school this week. He got kicked out on his first day, so that was awesome. So hopefully he makes it a little bit longer today. But what? Was their kind of little love child. TRIARC came in and sprinkled some secret sauce on it.